I just saw weapons and they had to scrape my jaw off the floor. And here's why. Most horror movies hide their monsters in the shadows, but in Weapons, Zach Cregger decides to hide his monsters right out in the open for everyone to see. But there is a deeper, symbolic story occurring just below the surface of the movie. Every triangle, every color, every number is loaded with meaning here. Cinematic lasagna. And once you start noticing them, you kinda can't stop. With this Weapons deep dive, I take all of that and break the film down for you, so that you'll never watch Weapons the same way again. So the movie begins in the thick of the story, about a month after a tragic mystery befalls a small town in Pennsylvania. Almost an entire classroom has just up and vanished in the middle of the night at 2:17 a.m. exactly, except for one very haunted-looking boy. The prime suspect is their teacher, Justine, who's played by Julia Garner, whose life implodes under the public scrutiny and suspicion. And then there's Archer Graff, played by Josh Brolin, a haunted father who takes it upon himself to find his son by any means necessary. We get 6 different perspectives throughout the film. A shady cop, a methed out drifter, an overwhelmed principal. Each draws us deeper, brings us closer to finding out what actually happened, until we get to the most bonkers finale that I've seen this year. So on its surface, Weapons acts as an allegory for school shootings. Children become literal instruments of violence. Parents and institutions are powerless. And the wider community responds with panic, recrimination, and superstition. They beam a semi-automatic rifle into the sky in one of Archer's dreams and connect it to the disappearance of a whole classroom of kids. The imagery of grieving parents and empty classrooms and a distraught community is very reminiscent of schools and locations across America where this kind of violence has taken place. But the film is just as much about addiction as it is gun violence. The characters of the film are train wrecks. Justine numbs herself with vodka. Paul is in recovery, but it doesn't take much to get him to fall off the wagon. James goes the entire movie oblivious to everything but his fix, even when stumbling into a cursed witch basement. And the others aren't much better. Marcus seems like he's addicted to his work, and Gladys the Witch is literally addicted to life. She has this vampiric, parasitic relationship with living things that she can't go without it. The number 3 is everywhere. And because this is a movie about witches, all this shit is pagan coded. Witches worship a 3-part god, the triple goddess. And wouldn't you know it, Zach Cregger baked that triple goddess metaphor right into the film structure. The young narrator is the maiden. Justine plays the mother, and the crone is, of course, Gladys. Gladys needs 3 items to cast her spell. The number 6 on her witching bell is just the number 3 doubled, which, according to the rules of that kind of magic, is supposed to set and seal the spell. And this falls in line with what the bell actually does in the story. The symbol of the triangle on the bell is upside down. This inversion could be a satanic thumb in the eye of the Holy Trinity, or it could be Zach Cregger getting high on his own supply. Nature imagery is abundant in the film, but takes an anti-divine role. Gladys infests the Lily household, overgrowing them like kudzu or some kind of parasitic vine. The floral wallpaper in Alec's parents' bedroom foreshadows this capture. Even Justine's bedsheets resemble gladiolus leaves. And if you didn't know, Gladys is Welsh for little sword, so named because the leaves of the gladiolus look like little swords, connecting Gladys both to nature and violence and harm. In the book of Genesis, the Great Flood began on the 17th day of the 2nd month. This gave 17 an association with both judgment and salvation. We're going to put a pin in the number 217 and revisit it because it factors in a big way. Blue becomes the visual anchor of the film. Almost all of the kids kidnapped by Gladys were in blue at the time of their departure. They have blue backpacks and blue accessories, people drive blue cars, and there's a blue tinge to the color grading of the film. It comes to symbolize normalcy and like regular society, but also a vulnerability. When someone is wearing blue, they're a part of the system, part of the mass, and often at risk. Red, by contrast, is the color of violence and rupture. And when these colors combine, bad shit tends to happen. The epicenter of the Gladys infestation is red brick with blue shutters. The gas station where Justine, Archer, and Marcus meet up is both red and blue. And Marcus himself, while as a weapon, is wearing blue clothing drenched in red. Officer Paul wears blue gloves and pricks himself with one of James's used needles, drawing blood, and sets both of these characters on their path to doom. And Gladys is also wearing red and blue when she's torn apart by the weaponized children, who went from wearing mostly blue to being covered in red. Biblical allusion with the flood imagery. We have children acting as a unthinking mass, as a force of nature almost, all in blue, just crashing through houses and windows, and they were abducted at 2:17 a.m. 2:17 is associated with the biblical flood. They act like a flood, consuming everything they touch. And the kids, too, were drowned. They suffer complete personality collapse and have to be institutionalized. It's not a happy ending, but I do think there's a secret ending. I think that Alex Lilly was taken in by another witch. Witches tend to group together in covens. Gladys and this mystery aunt who adopted Alex might have been living together in a coven. Alex's last name is Lilly, and that marks him close to nature. I think that Gladys could sense the inner witch in Alex. After all, Alex used his blood to cast the spell that killed Gladys. I'm not a blood magic scholar, but you might need a bit more running through the veins than just old man juice, right? You might need to have some kind of magical lineage. Or in casting this death spell, he may have unwittingly made a pact with Satan. And though Gladys is gone, her heir may very well remain, and the cycle continues. This movie has so many layers and rings so many tuning forks. This is the kind of movie you need to watch a couple of times for things to really click into place. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Am I totally up my own ass, or is there merit to any of what I've just said? And by all means, like the video, sub to the channel, and what did you think of the movie? Leave a comment with your theories. I'm Goblinsburg, and I will see you in the next one.